Okay, looks like we're live.
Yep.
All right. So the meeting is called to order. The first thing I need to ask is if you've looked at the agenda and you want to add anything to the agenda today, can you go ahead and let me know right now before we vote on it? Okay, then can I have a motion to approve the January 27th, 2021 agenda as submitted? Who wants to make that move?
I'll make the motion that we accept the agenda for the January 27th meeting as presented. Board meeting.
Excellent.
I second.
Okay, thank you. So now I have to do a roll call vote for aye or no. I'm going to start with myself as the first vote, and I vote aye. Emily, what do you say? Okay, you want to unmute so we can hear you?
Aye.
Well done. Barbara?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Brent?
Aye.
Garrett?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
And Gail?
Aye.
Well done, team. The next thing we have to do is approve the consent agenda. And that was for the December 2nd meeting, and it includes the minutes, the gift report, and the statistical report. Again, I needed a motion to approve.
Gail moves to approve.
Thank you,
You can second
Gail.
that.
And I'll second it.
Okay, Garrett, thank you. Again, we have to do a roll call. I start first. Aye for Chris Peterson. Emily?
Aye.
Barbara?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Brent?
Aye.
Garrett?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Thank you. And Gail?
Aye.
Great. Let me pause here. Sharon, am I saying your name correctly? Is it Sharon or Sharon?
It's Sharon.
Good, thank you. Nothing worse than calling someone by the wrong name. Jeez Louise. Okay, do we have any public comments? No? Okay. Ruth, you want to give a friend's report?
Yes, hi everyone. There isn't very much to report at the moment. We did just renew our contract with Virginia Business Systems for the graphics copier, which is one of our gifts to the library. So the RPL can continue printing out all the things that they give out to people and notifications and such. We did get over the holidays, our membership renewal letters out, and I hope that you all received one. I know that Leighton on our board reached out to Gianna for for a renewed list of the board members, so we could send a friend's membership letter to you. But if you didn't get one, please let us know and we will send you one right away. And I hope you will all become a friend.
And let me echo that. I haven't mailed mine in yet, but I'm going to, Ruth, and I'm an enthusiastic supporter of the Friends.
Thank you. Thank you. Other than that, we have a meeting coming up next week. Board meeting, and then we have been discussing somehow to have like first it was a spring, now maybe we're thinking summer outdoor in the library park, curated book sale. Still all kind of up in the air, but that's what we are thinking of, and we are hoping that we are all going to be far enough along this year to be able to have a fall book sale.
Okay. Great.
And we are getting ready to start April is the start of our new fiscal year. So we are hoping to get our, the proposal from the library for the gift that they would like to receive from us. So we're looking for that, and we need to discuss that at our meeting next week. So,
Okay.
Any questions for us?
What's the date for the meeting, Ruth?
It's Wednesday. Let me find out. What is the, I can't even, Monday is the 1st, so Wednesday must be the 3rd?
It is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Scott, do you want to update us on the Library Foundation?
Sure thing. Since our last meeting, they've been kind of continuing the annual fund, and that's kind of starting annual fund drive where we contact the list of annual donors and send them a request to give us a gift for this year. That is kind of spinning down right now. I should hope by the beginning of next month to have like better numbers on how we're doing with that. They're also working on their calendar for this year, trying to determine what activities they're going to be doing. Really kind of waiting for the master plan to kick off and kind of plan around that. So once we have that information and that kind of pinned down, we'll be able to build off of that. So we're kind of all waiting on the master plan, which I'll give you an update later on that.
Okay. Okay.
So, and then the last thing is we're actively in the hiring process for the Carnes old position. Probably have interviews in the next 3 days for that position. Hopefully be able to have a candidate hired soon. So those are the
You moved that very quickly.
3 big things going on. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't do anything else.
Any questions for the foundation? Do you want to go ahead and do the administrative report, Scott?
Sure thing. So after our last meeting in early December, about a week and a half, 2 weeks after that, we closed down the library interior access. We were allowing people to come in by appointment to use computers, but the positivity was going up so high that we made a call just to stop allowing access for that. We're still running curbside and all of our virtual programs and have had, and that continues to be strong. But we had to stop that, and we'll be closed for those appointments until that positivity rate changes. So COVID wise, we're still kind of in that place that we've been with COVID for a while. Henrico also closed all their locations. They're in curbside as well. Chesterfield has many of their locations closed. They have some that are open on a limited basis for limited hours. So we're kind of all in line right now in terms of the state. And right now the positivity is about 12%. I think that was the last I saw. That's for the Richmond area. The other thing Clay was showing me this morning was that we have a very high hospitalization rate for the city of Richmond. We have lots of people in our hospital beds, and I don't know if they're all Richmond citizens or surrounding area. I would guess they're people from Henrico and Chesterfield in our hospitals, but I think our hospital beds are at 85%, which is not a good figure. So Richmond is pretty bad in terms of the pandemic. So I think where we're at right now is where we need to be, and safely providing service as best we can. Hopefully, as those numbers turn around, we can gently open the door again, and that would be the plan. The other thing I've been working on is the vaccine. You guys kind of hit on that earlier. It's kind of a mess in terms of like organizations getting a definition of where our organization is at, is where we could get people vaccinated. I think we've been allowed to go into 1C, and I don't know when that will occur that we can get vaccination. I've told our staff to try, and if they have other factors that can get the vaccine sooner than 1C, then they should go ahead and do that and sign up via the state and sign up via, there's 2 websites you can sign up with. So the state has a sign up, and then the local Department of Health has a sign up. So I'm encouraging them to sign up that way. Unfortunately, they don't give you any information when you go in and sign up. They don't give you a confirmation. So it's kind of like, okay, I've signed up for something. I don't know if I'm on the list or not. So it's been pretty crazy. Melissa Verray, the acting director of the health department, gave a presentation at council on Monday night, and basically my takeaway from that was they just don't have vaccine in the area. I
Right.
think some localities have gotten vaccine. I think they're building the operations to distribute the vaccine. They just can't, they don't have it to give right now. So hopefully that will change. But that is going to be dependent on a lot of factors. So until
Your
we
sense
get it,
is that it's going to be solved quickly or not quickly? Quickly, like next Monday, or weeks and weeks and weeks?
God, I was praying that we would be able to start vaccinating our people in February, but I don't know that that'll happen.
Okay.
Because it sounded like from them at the health department on Monday night that they're still in 1A, where many localities around the state are moving into 1B.
Right.
So I don't think we have the vaccine in the city and surrounding areas to do what we need to do. So that's going to delay things. And 1C could be March or April.
Yeah.
Great. So hopefully things start to change, but our numbers are pretty bad.
Yeah. Okay.
But thankfully, we don't have anybody in quarantine and we don't have any positive cases. So we've been doing everything right. So
That's a plus. Well done.
That's been really good. So the steps
That's a
we've
plus.
taken and the way we've managed this, I think has worked out well.
Okay.
Well, on some positive notes, our Hull Street branch worked with VCU to create hygiene kits to distribute them. So they got people to donate materials for hygiene kits. And so VCU Health Hub distributed some, and we distributed kits here at Hull Street. And so that has been a helpful thing during this whole.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Our Alex Zukas, the branch manager over there, worked on that project and put it together.
What's in a hygiene kit?
That's a good question. I think it's the basics that one would need: toothpaste, cleaning supplies, hand sanitizer, that sort of stuff.
Okay. Okay.
Clay can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think that's what it is.
Toothpaste, toothbrush, deodorant, those sorts of things.
Okay.
We had some staff members attend the virtual ALA. That was last weekend. So
Right.
we brought back, Lisa Chrisman from our West End branch attended that and said it was good. It was a little bit different. The midwinter was last weekend. So I don't know when we're going to have library conferences in the future. Hopefully end of this year, next year. Those are really helpful to send staff to get ideas and come back with new stuff.
Right.
Ongoing hiring, we have, you saw in my report, we have, 12 positions we're actively hiring for right now. I'm hopefully, we've worked to get those past the hiring freeze. We got those approved, so we're moving on them. We've had some other vacancies, so hopefully we'll be able to work that process going forward. Other than that, that's the other big deal is the Young Adult Virginia Author Program opened up. So that's an annual celebration of young adult authors. We've been doing it for over 5 years. We recognize the best young adult author in Virginia. We usually have an awards program for them, and the author will usually do a young adult program later in the year. It has a little bit of a cash prize, so it's supported by our foundation and our friends of the library. They make that happen. So, and I think that's everything that we've had going on the last month.
Any questions for Scott? I have a question. The new digital programs, first of all, I was really impressed with all the ones that you have going on. That's a pretty lengthy list. The one that really was a yowza for me was Prevent Truth Decay, Become a Better News Consumer. You actually had 45 teens show up for that?
Yeah, I was surprised by that too.
Wow. What are your home runs with your digital programs?
I'd have to say I'm really proud of what we did with James McBride. I think that read up was wonderful. That was a little bit earlier. We had another program that came to us out of the blue. It was this was a couple weeks ago. Clay, what was that program?
Sadiqa Johnson and Lisa Wingate.
Oh, right. The Yellow Wife.
The Yellow Wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a big one, and that appealed to an audience of mainly, I guess I would call it historical romance. Would
Right.
that be the genre? Yeah, that was one that fell into our laps and was big. So upcoming next month is Black History Month, and so we have a lot of virtual programs planned for that, and those are being advertised. You'll see things all across the system. So I'm glad we're able to do that. I think that will be a big hit next month. But
Right.
staff, even though we've been shut down, staff have been busy doing these programs, and a
Right.
virtual program takes the same amount of work as an in-person program.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
because they
Yeah.
have to really be creative about how they construct it, how they get a presenter, helping the presenter present. Not everybody presents virtually or understands all the dynamics, and then just figuring out the technology. Thankfully, we had the foundation support us in purchasing a Zoom account because the city won't support Zoom. And when you get Zoom, you got to get, some of you who may be in a church and have had to have church via Zoom. It's not just a free account. You got to get a paid subscription, and then you have to set it up a certain way. So we've had to do that whole learning curve. So that's been a great thing in figuring out those dynamics. And I'm just thankful that the foundation and our friends have supported the programs and the virtual technologies for us to do it. It's really saved us.
I'm impressed by the diversity and length of things you've done digitally.
Yeah.
And I love digital programs, so I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Chris, may I pitch one for March? I have a new neighbor who's an assistant director for Disney, and they are in town in a movie production. And I just off the top of my head, she was talking about the numbers of temporary jobs that are produced in each location. And I hear jobs and I think, oh, good, we can use that. And so she is working with Jen Dool in the library and creating this program that will include the makeup person, the assistant production people, the choreography person, so there's kind of behind the scenes people that produce local jobs. And she's going to market it to the Java group, but I think it would be interesting for anybody who's a movie buff.
And we're a creative city, so this is the kind of thing we like. Yeah.
That's March 13th.
Thank you. Any other comments for Scott? Okay, we're going to go to the board committee reports, and I'm going to start with just saying two things. First, if you have not gotten the Richmond Public Library app, it is fabulous. You can order your books online, you can look at your queue, you name it, you can do it on this app while you're drinking a cup of coffee, sitting anywhere on your phone. So I love it. If you are an app gal or an app guy, this is a great way to go. Do any of you others of you have it? I'm never a leader. Oh, yeah. All right, go. What a good board. So you all agree with me. This is pretty good, huh?
Yeah. Good. And all the newsletters are excellent.
The other thing I want to say is this is a pretty quick meeting. I want you all to enjoy the quickness because we have some very hard work ahead of us intellectually, strategically, passion-wise, starting in February. So don't end our January meeting thinking, it's going to be an easy year, because it's not going to be an easy year. This is my gift to you. In Bill's absence, Bill's getting a vaccine, so we have to applaud that. But he and I are giving you this gift of a quick meeting, but it gets more intense and much more intense as we move through the next few months. So that is my report. Do I turn it back over to you, Scott, for facilities?
Yes, I can give you well, we have finance committee and I can give you update on finance
Okay,
facilities.
Scott, take it away.
Well, Garrett contacted me this morning. I don't know if Garrett has anything to add. Last month we talked about talking points for the budget and kind of where we were at with the budget. Those are things I'm working on. I told Garrett that it was only this week that City Council gave City Council a report on their forecast, where the budget is at. I don't know if any of you saw that at City Council, but I told Clay this morning, I said, I'd like to hear a different record played this time of year because it's the same music over and over again. We're in a deficit. The expenses exceed the revenues, and that's a problem. This has been 5 years of this, so we'll see. So it's kind of the same thing that we've always had. But I said, where we're at in terms of the budget is we took a 9% cut. We've had to reduce our public service hours, and we've had to reduce our materials budget. So those are basic things that need to get restored. And our request was, let's restore our funding back to 2020 levels, and we can get back. So we're not asking for the moon. We're asking to go back to where we were before the pandemic. And we were on a positive trajectory at that time, and I want to restore that. So that, I think, is our case, and we'll see how this plays out. They gave a timeline for the budget season that will the mayor will give his budget report on March 6th, and we'll go from there. But right now it's in the hands of budget and strategic management. I'll probably do a presentation, a Zoom presentation or Microsoft Teams presentation for City Council, which will reiterate this. But I'll also work on the information you need if you want to send an email to a City Council person or you have a telephone conversation with them. I want to get you some facts and figures and put this into something that would be helpful for you and when you contact them. Does that sound like a good plan?
So quick question. First, let me applaud Garrett for being ahead of the game with getting talking points. Well done. How would you guys see the timing for reaching out to our councilmen? A start, frequency, timing, method. Give us your advice.
I don't know if Scott is able to talk, but I could jump in here a little bit quickly. At least my thought process on that is that, one, again, thanks Scott for putting those talking points together for us. I think that's going to be critically important for us as we navigate this over the next few weeks and months, honestly. One, I would say from a frequency perspective, I think if we can, one, make sure that we reach out to our City Council representative in our particular district. So I think even if there's overlap within this particular board, I think the more they can hear from us, the better. And I would actually begin to build those relationships now, today. So it could be as simple as to say, hey, my name is Garrett, and I'm on the actual board, and I just wanted to make an introduction and let you know all the great things that we're doing on the board and all the great things that are happening within our public libraries. And then I think as you build that actual connection with them, then it makes the ask easier versus just reaching out once we have the talking points to say, okay, I'm a part of the board, now I have all these requests. So I would just really encourage everyone on the board, if you could do it as early as this morning or this afternoon, to reach out to your representative to let them know about the board and the great work that's happening. As it relates to the actual frequency of reaching out, I think as soon as we have those talking points from Scott, I think we at least try to make 2 or 3 contacts in the month of February. I think, the first one should be, again, just a standard introduction, kind of, again, maybe giving a recap of all the great things that have happened in our public libraries and how they've been able to really navigate the challenges of 2020 with limited resources, but still produce amazing work and amazing opportunities for city residents. And then from there, I think the second contact can really begin to hone in on the ask. what are the challenges that we saw in in last year, and how we can be able to get even above that if we have the necessary dollars in our budget to be able to operate effectively for the citizens of the city of Richmond. And then from there, I think the third one is just that continuous follow-up again to say, I know we made our first contact. I wanted to see if you've had the opportunity to take a look at, the facts that I presented to you. If you have any additional questions, please make sure that you present those to me so that we can come back together as a collective and discuss those items, or we can reach out to Scott directly and he can provide us maybe some additional information to pass along. So I think anything we can do in that regard for the month of February before we reconvene again as a board later next month will be very effective.
Yeah, I think that's a great path.
Yeah. Does anyone want to add to that?
So let me get those talking points together and that recap together for you guys. I'll get those distributed out to you based on what Garrett just recommended.
And one other thing I'll add as well, Chris, if I may, is that I can also circulate, or maybe we can figure out a way we can circulate all of the current city council representatives by district and also what their contact information is. Because of course, I've had the opportunity to reach out to a few of them already, just to kind of make those connections. So when we got to the ask portion of the beginning of Q1, that it would be a little bit seamless for us and easy for us, or as easy as it could possibly be. But I think as much as, again, we can provide that information to everyone on the board to make those contacts today and for the rest of the week and onward, the better we'll be off.
I like it. Thank you.
Okay. Super.
So do you want to go on, Scott, from finance to facilities?
Okay. For facilities, since last month, the procurement department has announced a notice of intent to award the master planning contract to Steinberg Hart. They were one of the firms that, of the 15 that applied, that got the award. At this time, they are working through contract negotiations with the firm to get something, an agreement in place so we can move forward. At present time, there were questions from the vendor to the city, and the city is responding to those questions. So as soon as that's resolved and we have a signed contract, then we can move forward. I don't have an estimated time that that'll be complete yet. As soon as I do, I'll be able, and as soon as we have that signed contract, I'll send you out kind of a timeline for what they wish to do in terms of the project and to get it started. I think the timing for this master plan is helpful because the things we're going to be looking at will be things that we can look at in terms of the strategic plan. So a whole encompass sort of thing, I think it'll be helpful in that process. So as Chris said, we've got a big year ahead of us. The master plan is one piece of it. The strategic plan is another piece of it. I think the two will help each other in terms of coming together. And then by the end of the year, we'll have a master plan and a strategic plan and hopefully be out of COVID. And one of the key things, and I brought this up early, I haven't mentioned this to you all, but I think we need to think about what our library is going to look like post-COVID. You know, we've made a lot of changes. There's a lot of things that we did in the past. There's things that we took on that are new. Some of those things we're going to stop doing. Some of those things we probably should continue doing. So I'd like us as a board to think about those and what your ideas and concepts. Those are things to think about in terms of the strategic plan, but maybe we talk about those more specifically as we get closer to reopening. So all of this stuff is going to come together, but in terms of the facilities and master plan, that's where we're at. We don't have any huge issues problems. Our Hull Street branch still has a hole in the wall for where the car ran into it. They're trying to fix that. We don't have any other big shutdown issues right now. So that's probably the biggest facilities damage problem that we're working on.
Do you want to wait to talk about post-COVID, or do you want us to start chatting about it at our next meeting?
I think if we start talking about it a little bit at our next meeting, if you have ideas, it'd be a good time to maybe share some of those and we can start the conversation. Because we're going to have to start dealing with it, because I don't know when we're going to get the vaccine. Maybe the numbers will start to change and we'll have to kind of talk about how we're going to reopen. But I'm hopeful that once we reopen, we're going to reopen, and we won't have to shift back anymore. But we'll see. This has been a dynamic, ever-changing situation. But
that's so true. Let me ask you, and board members weigh in here, if you will, as part of the conversation next month, tell us about the things that the library did during COVID that you thought really rocked, that were, underserved parts of our community, reached people that we've always had trouble reaching before. You define what rocked is, but feed to us what you think are the moments that we should be really proud of. Any other thoughts from the board of things we need to hear from Scott as we begin to think about a post-COVID world?
I had been discussing with somebody about how kids have been doing so much stuff online, and that kids are falling behind because they can't pick up everything online or they don't have the equipment. And not that I'm the person who can do this, but I think some intensive tutoring is going to be needed. And if there's a way to pull together, community people from the community that can occupy some of the meeting spaces that are in all the libraries. I know the main has more meeting spaces, but pull together those groups of kids that are going to need some really intensive free tutoring to get them back up to speed to going back to school.
That is a really good thought. I'd also kind of like to challenge Emily and Sharon to think about this too. Emily, because you have the little one, so that you have an immediate understanding and circle of friends that are concerned with this. And Sharon, you know the schools as well as anyone on this board. I think in addition to this Rock and Ruth idea, will you guys give some special thought to children and families for us? Scott, what else do you have to say?
I think that's all I have for facilities at this time.
Governance, do we have any governance report? I don't expect one. Okay, any unfinished business we want to deal with? New business? Did I tell you this was the easiest meeting we're going to have this year? Ponder for 2 minutes, and if there's anything you want to say, we really want to hear it. If not, after 2 minutes, I'm going to, yes, Janet.
I want Scott and Clay, if he's still here, and Ruth to tell everybody how much we appreciate all that you've done with dealing with this situation where nobody can come into a library. I think all the virtual stuff is great. All the creativity is great. And just let everyone know that we appreciate it.
Yeah.
That was so good, Janet. Thank you for saying that.
We will. I will. I think what's been nice is we have Slack, and staff will share like some things that patrons are doing over at curbside, saying thank you to us for what we're doing, and letting us know we're there. Somebody posted one the other day. It was like at a coffee shop or something, and it was a big heart that said they loved their libraries. And it made me think, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get back to where it was. I'm ready for people to come back into our space. And we've done so well for so long, but it's just been so hard. And I mean, we've got to come back together. And I think that's one of the big things that I want to hopefully that we can achieve and do in a big way when we are able to safely do it, is come back together. Do those things where we can have community space and do those programs and do the homework helps and really partner with our schools to, I think in terms of education, I think we're really starting to see that the screens are not a substitute for in-person education. I think once we have to get our students back in school, and this connection with people in person is really important to the process. I think I've learned that over this whole time, and that's the one thing that I'm really looking forward to when we get back.
I'm looking forward to community activities, people being able to meet in the library and discuss things that are important to our city. So that's all of it's important, but it's the community that I miss.
Yep.
Anyone else? Okay, our next meeting is February 24th. It is going to be an electronic meeting at the same time, but remember, think post-COVID and library, because that's going to be on the agenda as the start of our deep dive into where we're going to go in the future. And I wish everyone a happy day and a happy week.
Thanks,
Thank
Chris.
you.
We're
Thank you.
adjourned.
Everybody have a
Thank
good
you.
afternoon.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.